What is a cube? Well, aside from mathematically being a solid bounded by 6 equal squares and the angle between any two adjacent faces being a right angle, in Magic the Gathering terms, a cube is quite simply a collection of Magic cards that are assembled together so they can be drafted just like one does with Magic the Gathering booster packs. In a sense, a Magic cube is basically a set that you create for yourself. In other words, once you've created your cube, you don't need to buy new booster packs to draft. You can just draft from your cube as if you are cracking and drafting booster packs. Is it a collection of all of the best Magic the Gathering cards you can find? Well, for some people, that's exactly what it is. For others, myself included, no. But how do you actually put together a cube? I mean, do you just throw the cards together and boom, you're done? Well, there's actually a lot more work to be done than just that. A cube must be made with drafting in mind and, to that end, needs to have draft synergies and strategies throughout the cards. While it's fine to have some pet cards here and there, by and large, cards need to be chosen with thought and care, keeping in mind interactivity, playability, and themes, with the end goal being the best draft experience possible within the parameters you set for yourself. Now, in terms of my own cube, which I have in this box right here, I kept in mind 2 color pair card strategies and themes. Black-red, for example, is land destruction. We have white-blue with card draw, stuff like that. I also gave myself some added parameters just to, well, kind of had fun with it. For one, this entire cube is old frames only, not just old cards, but old card frames, including new cards that have been printed in those old frames. Now, yes, this does limit me as the cube builder by having such a parameter, but it's also a nice way of giving myself a fun challenge and a way to really just pull on my nostalgia. Now, of course, an old frame cube might not work for you. Well, thankfully, there's a ton more Magic cards you can choose from than just ones with old frames. Really, you can make your cube however you want. That said, there are some accepted ground rules as far as how to compose it. For a first-time cube, starting at 360 cards is great, as it can support exactly 8 players. Enough for a traditional style draft like you might attend at your local gaming store. Of course, cubes can be larger than this. Indeed, there are those who put together 720 card cubes, as to support 2 pods of 8, and that's amazing. Actually, knowing 16 people you can get together in. Never mind, I digress. My cube here, open this up for you, it's 400 cards plus basic lands all pre-sleeved. Okay, back to how to actually put together your cube. For a 360 card cube, you're going to want to look at including 50 to 60 cards of each of Magic's colors. Don't forget to leave room for multicolored cards, as well as around 30 non-basic lands and colorless spells. You know, cards like Nevinyrral's Disc and It That Betrays and whatnot. And it's heavily recommended that you construct this singleton, that is, no more than 1 copy of any one card. And as you're putting things together, think not just about what cool and powerful cards you want to include, but also what those cards could bring to the overall gameplay experience. Are there synergies to exploit? Would the card actually be good in pretty much any deck? Would a card work across various archetypes? Also, don't forget to include what's known as signpost cards. These are cards that basically spell out what sorts of themes players should be looking for while drafting. Is discard a theme? If so, you might want to include cards like Megrim and Liliana's Caress. How about life gain? Well, you might want to look at cards like Ajani's Pridemate and Test of Endurance. By the way, feel free to take advantage of the available technology while building your cube. Me? Well, I use a web service called CubeCobra.com as a way to not only keep track of things as you're putting it together, but also a way to simulate drafting your cube. CubeCobra, by the way, is not a sponsor of this video or any other content I've made. It's just a good tool that I use. Recommendation for you. Also, and this is key if you plan on sleeving the cards in your cube, which I most heavily recommend, you should sleeve enough of each basic land so that players can include those lands in their decks. For a 360 card cube, a minimum of 30 of each is good. 50 is better, you know, just in case. And one final key thing to keep in mind once your cube is up and running. Playtest. Get some friends together and test it out. This is how you figure out what is and is not working with your cube. Does the mono green player go undefeated nearly all the time? Is white too slow? Maybe there is not enough removal available, or too much. Playtesting is how you figure these things out and gives you the opportunity to fix it. Okay, now you got your cube put together, you've worked the kinks out, now what do you do with it? A single magic cube can accommodate 8 to 16 people for drafting depending on how large of a cube you've put together. And you can play it, well, basically anywhere you want to. At home, friend's place, at your LGS, at your local brewery, essentially anywhere that can accommodate you physically being there playing games of Magic. And whether your cube is an ever-evolving project that just changes and evolves over time, or a one-and-done fixed investment that ends up kind of like a time capsule for you and your friends to draft from, either way, if it makes you happy and is fun to build and fun to play, then that's the right kind of cube for you. As far as my cube, well, if you are curious what's in it, I'll have the link in the description. You can hop on over to Cube Cobra and check that out. And hey, if you have some feedback for my cube, I'm all ears. Go ahead and drop me a comment and let me know what you do and don't like about it. For Magic Untapped, I'm Barry White. Thanks for watching.